I used to believe my twin sister was the visible one, and I was the quiet shadow beside her. People saw Clara first. Always. She moved through rooms like sunlight. Effortless, warm, impossible to ignore. And I followed. Not because I had to, but because standing beside her felt like the safest place to be invisible. For years I told myself I preferred it that way. The quiet. The background. The space where no one asked questions I didn't know how to answer. But the truth is, I wasn't invisible. Not to everyone. The day my mother spoke 3 simple words, my life split in 2 before and after. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't make it a moment. She just opened a door I didn't know I'd been standing in front of my entire life. What I didn't know then was that my twin sister had already been dancing beside the person I was becoming. She saw me long before I saw myself. This is the story of how I stopped hiding in the shadow and learned to stand in the light, not by leaving my sister behind, but by finally joining her. Clara and I were born 4 minutes apart. She came first. I followed. And in a way, that's how it always was. People expect twins to be mirrors. 2 halves of the same whole. Matching outfits, matching interests, matching lives. But from the beginning, we were different. Clara was expressive, bold. She cried louder, laughed harder, demanded more. She filled every room she entered, even as a child. By the time we were 10, she'd already found her passion: dance. Ballet at first, then contemporary, then anything that let her body tell a story her words couldn't. I was quieter, observant. I learned early that if you stayed still enough, people stopped asking what you were thinking. I became good at watching, at listening, at existing in the spaces between conversations. But here's what people didn't understand. There was no rivalry between us. No jealousy, no bitterness. I didn't resent Clara for shining. I admired her. I was fascinated by the way she moved through the world, without apology, without hesitation. She never second-guessed herself. She just was. And I wanted that. Not her life, not her spotlight, just the freedom she carried so easily, the permission to take up space, to be seen, to exist without explanation. I didn't know it then, but I wasn't watching Clara because I wanted to be like her. I was watching because somewhere deep inside, I recognized something I couldn't yet name. Clara practiced at home almost every day. Our living room became her stage. She'd push the coffee table to the side, connect her phone to the speaker, and move. And I would watch. I told myself I was just keeping her company, that I was being supportive, that it was something siblings did. But the truth was more complicated. I wasn't just watching her steps, I was watching the way she occupied space, the way her arms extended without fear of being too much, the way her body curved and straightened and flowed like water. I noticed the clothes she wore, soft flowing fabrics that moved with her, leggings that hugged her form, tops that didn't restrict. Everything about her movements felt unguarded, free. And I felt something I couldn't name, something that sat in my chest like a question I didn't have the language to ask. I never joined her, never even got close. I just sat on the couch, book in hand, pretending to read while my eyes tracked every movement. I thought I was invisible in those moments. Just background furniture, a passive audience. I was wrong. It was a Tuesday afternoon, ordinary, unremarkable. Clara was in the middle of a routine she'd been perfecting for weeks, something modern, emotional, with music that felt like it was written for the way she moved. I was watching again, not even pretending to read this time, just watching. And then the door opened. My mother stepped into the room. She didn't announce herself, didn't make noise. She just stood there in the doorway, holding a laundry basket, looking at me. Not at Clara, at me. Time did that thing it does in movies. It slowed. I felt my face flush. My stomach dropped. I was caught. Exposed. Doing something I didn't even understand was wrong until that moment. But my mother didn't look disappointed. She didn't look confused or concerned. She just smiled. Soft. Knowing. And then she said 3 words that changed everything. You should join. I blinked. My brain couldn't process it. Join? Join what? The dance? The practice? The world Clara moved through so effortlessly while I sat frozen on the couch? Clara stopped mid-movement. She looked at Mom, then at me. She didn't say anything, she just waited. Mom set the laundry basket down and walked over. She sat beside me, her voice was gentle. You've been watching for months, sweetheart. I see you. I know you're interested. I wanted to deny it, to laugh it off, to make some excuse about being bored or supportive, or anything that didn't involve admitting the truth. But the words wouldn't come. Because Deep down, I knew she was right. Those 3 words, "you should join," didn't ask me to change. They didn't demand an explanation. They didn't judge. They invited me to arrive. My mother left the room after that moment. She didn't push, didn't explain further. She just gave me space. But something had shifted. Later that evening, after dinner, she came to my room. She was holding something, a small bundle of fabric in her hands. "Do you remember when Clara started dance classes?" she asked. I nodded. I was 12. Clara had begged for weeks to join a local studio. When Mom finally agreed, they went shopping for proper dance clothes. "The sales representative wouldn't sell just one set," Mom continued. "They only came in twin packs. I bought both even though you weren't interested at the time." She placed the bundle on my bed. I kept it, just in case. I stared at the fabric, soft, fitted, feminine. Everything Clara wore when she danced. Mom didn't say anything else. She just squeezed my shoulder and left. I sat there for what felt like hours. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. Slowly, carefully, I reached for the fabric. It was lighter than I expected, softer. The texture felt almost familiar, like something I'd touched in dreams, but never in waking life. I held it up. A fitted top. Leggings. Simple. Elegant. Practical. And it felt like something that had always known my name. I locked my door. I don't know why. No one was going to walk in. But I needed the illusion of safety, of privacy, of control. I changed slowly, one piece at a time. The fabric felt different than anything I'd worn before. It wasn't restrictive. It didn't hide. It moved with me, not against me. I stood in front of my mirror. For the first time in my life, I didn't see the person I'd been pretending to be. I saw someone who'd been waiting, patient, quiet, present all along. I found some of Claire's makeup on the dresser we shared. Just a little. Subtle. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to soften the edges. To bring out something I'd kept hidden. My hands were steady. I didn't fumble. It felt natural. Like muscle memory from a life I hadn't lived yet. When I looked in the mirror again, I didn't see Clara. I didn't see an imitation or a costume or a performance. I saw truth. My shoulders relaxed. My posture softened. My breath came easier. I wasn't becoming someone else. I was uncovering someone patient enough to wait. The next afternoon, Clara was in the living room again. Same routine, same music. I walked in. She saw me. Her eyes widened for just a second. Not in shock, but in recognition. Like she'd been expecting this all along. She didn't stop dancing. She just extended her hand. I took it. She didn't explain the steps. She didn't teach. She just moved, and I moved with her. At first, I was clumsy, self-conscious. My body didn't know the language hers spoke fluently. But then something clicked. I stopped trying to copy her. I stopped trying to match her perfectly. I just moved the way my body wanted to move. And it worked. We weren't dancing the same. We were dancing together. Different energies, different expressions. But the same rhythm, the same heartbeat. I looked at her, and she looked at me, and we both smiled. In that moment, I wasn't different from her. I was different with her. Dance became our ritual. Not every day, but often. Some days I wore the clothes, some days I didn't. It didn't matter. What mattered was the freedom, the expression, the permission to exist without apology. My mother watched from the kitchen sometimes. She never made it a big deal, never asked invasive questions, never labeled what I was doing. She just let me be. And that was the greatest gift she could have given me. Clara never treated me differently. She never acted like I'd crossed some invisible line or violated some unspoken rule. She just danced beside me, like she always had, like she always would. Years later, I asked my mother why she kept those clothes, why she said what she said that day. She smiled the same soft smile she'd given me in that doorway. "Because I saw you," she said, "and I wanted you to see yourself." She didn't tell me who to be. She showed me it was safe to find out. I'm an adult now. My life looks different than I imagined it would when I was that quiet kid sitting on the couch. But Clara and I are still close. Still twins. Still different. Still together. Being different never divided us. It taught us how to stand closer. My mother gave me permission. Clara gave me company. But I gave myself courage. And that's what I want you to take from this story. If you're watching this and you feel like you're standing in a doorway, unsure whether to step through, know that someone sees you. Someone is waiting to dance beside you. Someone is holding space for the person you're becoming. Maybe it's a parent. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's a friend. Or maybe, right now, it's just you. And that's enough. If this story reached you, leave a comment. Tell me who first saw you, who made space for your truth. And if you're still waiting for that person, let this be a reminder that you're not alone. Like this video if it moved you. Subscribe for more stories of love, acceptance, and finding the courage to be free. Because somewhere out there, someone is already dancing beside who you're becoming. You just have to join. The end.
The Gender Diary exists to light that path with shared stories. Whether you found connection in this narrative, you're on your own journey of gender exploration, or you're here seeking understanding, your subscription fuels our mission. Every subscriber empowers us to keep illuminating these authentic experiences for our community. Kindly drop a comment below. Your voice adds to the tapestry of experiences that makes this space meaningful. Until our next story unfolds.